Well, he got the job a couple years ago, and he has just smashed it at Michigan. Dusty May is 54-12. They're on a heater against the Big Ten, which may be the best conference, and he is joining us. I watched them play Friday. You know, my first takeaway watching you Friday, I'm thinking, okay, so he's rolling people. Illinois is a good team. They may have lost at UCLA. They're a good team. And I'm thinking to myself, is that coach wondering, you're going to get into the tournament, and you're going to get into close games. How do you prepare your team for, okay, you're a big favorite, the pressure's all on you in the tournament, and it's a 4-point game with 4 minutes to go because that's the reality of the tournament. People get hot. Is there a way to create pressurized moments when you're winning by an average of 20 points a game?
Well, it's less normal for us to feel like that in those moments, but we've been in a few of them and we've performed well. We've made big free throws, and it's such a contrast to last season where every game was 4 points or less, or at least it seemed. And so we went into this year thinking that if a game's under 4 points or less, there's a 50-50 chance you're going to lose the game because you're playing against a like opponent. And so we've tried to make sure that we weren't in these one-possession games. But I do believe, because we have the ability to score at the rim and then also make threes. So we don't rely on low percentage shots to win. And then defensively, we're very sound. I think we're behind Duke now in defensive efficiency in the country. And we also have guys that make better percentage free throws than they do normally. So those things give you some hope and comfort, but hopefully we're not in a one-possession game early on, especially.
So you started years ago in coaching where you were going to AAU tournaments and maybe even high school. Now it's more administrative. It's NIL. It's portal stuff. You're a very youthful looking late 40s. Do you miss some of the AAU grind? Is the NIL frustrating where you're sometimes recruiting your own players to stay? How's it land for you?
Colin, just by nature, I just adjust and adapt to whatever I am and try to learn as much as I can about it and enjoy it. I've always enjoyed the different. It's almost like the season ends and you become a different type of employee where now you're a recruiter and a developer. And then when the season's there, you're trying to win games and you're scouting an opponent. So it's almost been like seasons where throughout the season, there's 3 or 4 different seasons to our job. And so the newness was always, I guess, fresh. And now when I go to city to recruit, I make sure I stop and see a couple maybe donors who own their own businesses because you might need them down the line.
Yeah.
And so it's just different. You go meet with agents when you're in a certain city, or big agencies, because over the course of time they're going to have good players, and you want to have a relationship with them. So the time is the same; it's just different. But I haven't forgotten those 8 a.m. to midnight sitting in a gym in Vegas, wondering what day it is, and living off glizzies and popcorn.
By the way, I used to cover UNLV, my first job out of college, and I would see a sea of coaches at the Las Vegas Classic, and you're describing it aptly. So Yaxel Lendeborg is your best player. You got 4 different guys that score in double figures. You're very balanced. For anybody that hasn't watched Michigan, they're balanced and they're big. Your best player could have gone pro. You ended up convincing him, hey, come up to Michigan. And a lot of people, that's not easy. You're staring at NBA money. Most of your players want to play. They want to play professional. What was your sales pitch for a kid that could have gone pro? What was your pitch to stay in college and go to Michigan?
Well, if you take the NBA out of this, the stars were aligned for us and Yaxel, that we lost Danny and Vlad. We had a proof of concept that we played our bigs in a unique style and way where he could benefit. And then he was familiar with our staff, our program, because we competed against him. He knew some of our guys. So literally, I say everything lined up perfectly except his desire to go to the NBA. And so he was looking for a first round guarantee. And once he realized that he couldn't get a team to give him a guarantee that they were going to draft him in the first round, then he was going back to college. Now he did get a couple guarantees for the early second round where teams said they would guarantee him and give him a multi-year contract. But he felt like he needed another year of college, especially at this level, playing against the biggest, best, strongest, and wanted to prove himself in the Big Ten. And he held Michigan in high regard because he had lived in Ohio when he was a young player. And so literally, I don't think everything could have lined up any better than it did for us and him. But we loved our roster before. So when he decided to come to college, he decided to come back to college, we felt like our pieces didn't necessarily fit. We were big. We had three guys that we thought would be three of our best players that had all played the center position at their previous stop. So we thought this is high risk, high reward, but it could go poorly in this era. And his salary was well publicized. So how would that have, what type of impact would that have on our locker room when he's paid so much more than anyone else? And we were very open and honest with all of it. And he came back and just wanted to be one of the guys. I think that's probably the biggest reason it's worked, that he hasn't tried to be bigger than the team. He just simply wanted to be just one of many and try to do something special together.
I said with the NIL, I think, not that it saved college basketball, but I said that the Billy Donovan Florida Gator teams, to me, were great college basketball teams that could have worked in any era. And then there was a dry spell for about 15 years, a lot of one and done. I thought the NBA demonized college basketball. It was a mistake. I never liked the G League. In fact, you can't name a single NBA star from it. Ignite, overtime. I understand kids not wanting to go to college, but I think the coaching in college helps players. I also think playing in intense arenas, that's like NBA level stuff. You don't get that in the G League or Ignite. You go, your game Friday, that place is a zoo. It's loud. You can't hear. It's caustic. So my take is NIL has actually European guys coming to the States, keeping guys like your best player in college. I feel like when I watch college basketball today, it is noticeably deeper and better than 5 years ago. But I'm a layman here. Does it feel like when you're watching basketball and tape, it's like there's just more NBA dudes on the floor now in college?
Yeah, Colin, I think the things you said, the OTE, the Ignite, they're part of the reason things are the way they are. And if you just take all the peripheral stuff away, the actual product is better than it's ever been. There are more teams. There's more great players. It's more competitive than ever. I know when I'll turn on the TV tonight and watch a couple games, and I'll be blown away at how good the teams, the coaching. And then even if these guys come to college at 21 or 22, they're learning a lot as far as being professionals. Even you take the classroom out of it, what we learn from 18 to 24 changes the way we think, the way we move as adults. And so I think the longer people are on college campuses, the better for them. Now, is it better for an 18-year-old freshman? No. But this has always been a meritocracy. The best players have always been able to get the scholarships or the NIL, whatever the case. And that's never going to change. And it's the same way in the NBA. The best players get the best contracts and play the longest. And then they have the say when it comes to the players' union and all the decisions that affect those below them.
All right, Dusty May, coach of Michigan, big win over the Fighting Illini. Now they're talking about this whole expansion. And listen, college football playoff, the networks want it. I'm not naive here. I get the whole game. But I kind of like the way it is. I'll be honest with you. When you hear about March expansion, what do you make of that?
Once again, if I died and came back as the czar of college basketball, I wouldn't expand the tournament right now. But if there's a compelling case of why it's better for the enterprise of college basketball, then I would be all ears. I think every time there's been change, it's been met with resistance based on nostalgia. Yeah. And if the TV networks want it, if it improves the experience for more players, then it keeps teams more engaged for longer periods, which makes the games meaningful in February, then it wouldn't be hard for me to change my opinion or be persuaded in that way. I just don't know. I haven't put enough time in it because I don't have any say. So I take it for what it is. If we expand, great. If we don't, great. We'll have our team ready to play ball. That's kind of how I look at all these issues. Yeah, I like our staff cut some video of Michigan. Your guys' size is incredible you guys are just big and intimidating. Okay, finally, you had a viral moment against Michigan State earlier this year. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you actually enjoyed this. You were silently taunting Spartan fans. Take me to that moment. Yeah, Colin, it's completely. I'm completely out of how I am by nature when I'm coaching now. Where I'm a small, fiery. Irish guy that probably got in more fights growing up than I had easy days. And once I got into coaching and had a family, I basically just left all that behind and became a borderline pacifist. So now when people have road rage, I just kind of shrug it off. If people get mad in the line, I just shrug it off and let them go in front of me. So if a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds who were probably overserved beginning at 8 a.m. want to yell and scream obscenities at me, let them go ahead. It's all part of the game. I enjoy watching European basketball and the stuff that goes on with that. So I think it's part of it. There's nothing any of those people can say that's going to get a rise out of me. So yes, in a way I did enjoy it, but just for the fact that those kids are never going to be able to get under my skin.
Yeah. Well, I'm married to an Irish wife. You're an Irish guy. Overserved happens. That's just life, is it not?
All part of it.
Yeah. Great seeing you. Great meeting you, Coach. Congratulations. You put together a daunting front court and a really interesting program. And congrats. And I loved having you on the show today.
Thank you, Colin. I enjoyed it. I appreciate you having me on.